everybody. I think we're ready to get started. Nice to see everybody. Everyone seems like they're in a good mood tonight. Lots of smiling faces. The weather has been beautiful. Thanksgiving holiday, a lot to be thankful for. So tonight I wanted to move quickly because we have a lot of stuff to cover. We have a few announcements. We have some amazing show and tell. We have a great program. I'm very looking forward to having Mary May back here. She hasn't been here for a few years, so we want to make sure we have time for that. So we're going to move pretty quickly. My name's Calvin. I've served on the board for a few years. If you haven't met me, I would love to meet you. I want to welcome all of you that are online as well. So we're going to move through pretty quickly. So the first thing, I want to make sure, even though we're moving fast, I want to just acknowledge the Guild lost one of its sort of scions of our Guild. One of the most beloved members, Dave Kratz, passed away. And Dave has been in the Guild for probably over 40 years. And I think that almost all of us he's touched or taught. You know, he's the majig master. He knew just about how to do just about anything, but he was also a gentleman, always willing to teach, always encouraging. So a big loss for our Guild. So I just wanted to take just a moment to acknowledge how important he was to us. And there's really not much. I can't really give it to words. I just wanted to acknowledge it. You know, he's an important guy, and it's a sad day when we found out that Dave passed away. Okay, got that done, and I'm sure many of you may have things to talk about with each other about Dave. Feel free to do that at the break or any of that. So, also, thank you, Carol. I forgot. We're going to have a book. A memory book that's going to be available at the Guild. We're going to put it in the library. So we're going to have it out probably for the next month or so, probably through next meeting, which will be our Christmas dinner. If you've got a memory or you want to share something about Dave, you want to write something, and this will be given to the family because I think that would be nice for them to know. I think they know it, but it would be nice for them to have a record of this will be a way for you to acknowledge the family and write down some of the things of what Dave meant to you. We also have a couple of cards that we're going to leave out on the back there. Carol has got them there. It's right on our sponsor area. So if you want to sign a card, that will also go to Dave's family as well. Okay, so a couple quick announcements. You may have seen in the newsletter, so December 6th, we're going to have a Society of Period Furniture Makers meeting here at the Guild. It's going to start at 9 a.m. I'll get a flyer out to everybody, but really, if you're interested in period furniture, which sometimes I feel like I'm the only one, but if you are at all, please come. You don't have to be a member. Of course, if you like it, you can certainly become a member. And this is our gateway chapter, which is really, it encompasses St. Louis, Kansas City, Des Moines, Omaha, Wichita, really anyone who's willing to be a part of it. And if you're interested in period furniture, which is a lot of it times means Chippendale, Queen Anne, or Federal furniture, but it's really mostly focused on all of the pre-industrial furniture. And I grew up the son of a period furniture maker, so it's kind of always been very exciting for me. So if you're interested, come look for the flyer. You can come ask me questions. Tom Smoller is going to present. Tom has shown some of his amazing work. He's going to potentially bring his Newport secretary. Hopefully we can get that piece here, and that would be amazing to see. And we're going to have Bill Robertson here. And a lot of you have seen Bill Robertson. He's the miniaturist that we went to the Toy Museum, and a lot of his work is very period appropriate, so going to be fun. So we've got some amazing speakers, and I may do a little presentation as well. So, which will be the worst of the three. So we're gonna go down. We're gonna move quickly, moving on down. We're gonna skip most of the officer reports. Chuck's got a mortiser for sale and a bench for sale. So if you're interested, please look at that. The newsletter, I want to make sure you all know if you're interested in writing a newsletter article, we would love to have it. So please consider writing a newsletter article. Magazine and books for sale, just like always. Don's got magazines for 25 cents or 5 for $1, and books for $1. Is that right, Don? And great stuff. You can check that out over the break. So I want to also remind everyone we're on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. We have Instagram page. We have YouTube. And please engage in the community. If you're doing work, post your work. And I also forgot to welcome new members. I just kind of mental that. So do we have any first-time guests here tonight? All right. Great to have you. Typically we do that at the beginning of the program, but I blew right past it, so I apologize. And then do we have any people who are new members here for the first time? Any new members? All right. Couple new. Thank you guys for joining the guild. And I also want to say thank you. As a week ago we had Veterans Day. We have a lot of veterans in the guild, so I just wanted to take a minute on behalf of the guild to say thank you all for your service. Do we have any veterans here? You want to stand up? Look at this. So, yeah, thank you all for your service. It's a privilege for us to be here because of what you all have done and dedicated your lives to. So thank you very much on behalf of me and my family and for the guild. Moving down, Chris, do you have some announcements on AV? I can get this for Chris. I would say if you come up for show and tell, use the microphone, please. We're up to 634 YouTube subscribers, so if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, please do. We're getting more people all the time, which is great. So nine new subscribers in the last month. So next up, events. Matt, do you want to come say a couple words about the Christmas dinner coming up for approximately a month from now?
That's our next meeting, is Christmas dinner. And normally it's been, I wouldn't say, okay, normally it's been, I don't know if I would say, not necessarily boring, but it's not necessarily exciting. So we're trying to do something different this year. Terry and I, one of the things we're going to add is an icebreaker, because you come in here, we may know each other as members, but we don't always know our spouses or the rest of the family, and so it can get kind of quiet at the very beginning of the dinner. Roll the dice. Roll it in the cover there, I guess. Roll 2 dice. I'm sorry, he's being very technical, very precise. 4, right? You can either use a 4 or you can use a 3 and the 1, whatever. Okay, that's how you play. It's really a simple game. It's a bar room or a pub game. I discovered.
So exciting.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Once you start going, it can get pretty exciting, and there's going to be a box on every table where there's like 28 tables. If 150 people sign up, there'll be 28 tables in here. There'll be a box at each table of 6. We can play stuff like that. So that hopefully, not only that, you'll be playing and having fun, but while the other people are getting in line to go eat and you're still stuck there sitting there waiting to get in line, you'll have something to do, okay? And also this year, brand new, we're adding presents. We hope that every person that comes to dinner will also be able to go over to the hand tool room, pick out a present. They will not be wrapped. You'll be able to look at everything and take something, take one of those things home with you. Maybe we might even let you take home a game box. I'm not too sure yet. So please sign up. I noticed, Carol, have you been keeping track? The last I saw was 24 people signed up for dinner. Good. And then we also need people to show up early in order to help set up. This is a lot of work for Terry and I to do. All of that equipment is being moved in the back. A lot of stuff has to be moved. So, and we sign up early so we know how many tables to have. We only have tables for so many people. If we have more people sign up, we've got to go get more tables and chairs. We would like to know that more than a couple of days in advance. So please sign up early. $30. And I tell you what, there's a Swedish $30 now. Yeah, if you wait until later on, like within a couple of weeks, it's going to go up to 35. And if you do like some people have done on a regular basis, where they show up that night and expect to be fed, assuming there's any food left, we're going to charge you $45. So I would go with signing up early. Go for the $30 price.
That makes sense. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. And I mean, I can't wait for the icebreaker. That sounds awesome. Okay. All right. Chris, you want to come talk about Santa's Workshop?
So this weekend is Santa's Workshop. Quick, how many people have done Santa's Workshop before? Keep your hands up. Put your hands down if you've already signed up this year. Okay, already signed up? Okay, I'm going to pick those that haven't. We still need volunteers. I looked this evening. I've already had a couple sign up tonight. We still have at least 5 spots that need to be filled that have to be green tag members. We have over 22 spots total that need to be filled. Those can be non-green tag members, so if you're not a green tag member, spouse, child, whoever, we need some help with assembly, we need help with floaters, so we really need help to get this. Over the past, this is our 4th year, the past 3 years combined, we've given out, I believe, over 1,400 toy trucks to kids free in the community. We're planning on between 500 to 750 this year. I have 1,000 prepped just in case. But we definitely need your help to make this happen. If you haven't signed up, please see me or see the email. We do have some spots still open for vendors, so if you have some items you want to sell, if you don't have enough to fill a table and you want to go in with a partner, we can do that too. But we really need your help to make this happen. And special this year for the Guild members, for your families, we're opening the doors to public on Saturday at 11 o'clock. Guild members' families can come in at 10 o'clock to start making the toys. We always have a big rush at the beginning, so get your families in at 10 o'clock. They can get in a little bit before the rush. So if you have kids, grandkids that want to come in and make the toys, they can come in at 10 o'clock on Saturday. We open the doors to public at 11 o'clock. So, but we really need your help to make this happen. So.
How's the parking situation when you got 2 different timetables and you have all these people coming in from the public as well?
Question is how parking. Parking is not going to be fun down here this weekend. There's not much we can do about it. Also going on this weekend over at the convention center is the Anime Con. So there'll be lots of people down here. Get here early, try to find a parking spot. We have some spots across the street next to the climbing gym, and they got a lot. Just wherever you can find a parking spot, it's not much we can do about the parking. Yes? Yes, the question was, do we get a Santa Claus? We do have a Santa Claus. So Santa Claus will be here. Spoke with him. He's going to come in on Friday, get some stuff set up, and he will be here all weekend to inspect the toys for the kids. So we do have Santa Claus.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris, and thank you for all of you who are signed up to volunteer, have volunteered, and will sign up to volunteer. So thanks, everybody. It's a lot of effort to put this on. Moving down quickly, we're up to 875 members. Carol, do you have any special announcements you want to make tonight? While she's walking up, I want to remind everybody for sponsorship, please go see our raffle table. We've got some great stuff over there. We actually have a book from Mary May is in the a signed copy. Man, that's worth a lot of money right there. Okay, thank you, Carol.
Okay, 875. Thank you. I wanted to talk about merchandise that's coming. So we ordered the aprons, and I'm hearing we're going to get the aprons next week, so I'm pretty excited about that. There are 2 computer bags left, And if they sell out, I'm going to order 5 more, and then this one's discontinuing. So if you're on the fence about that, you want to kind of let me know as soon as you can. We're going to have 3 versions of T-shirts coming up. These are ordered. This one says, maybe sanding doesn't like you either. This one says, I saw that, and it's going to be our logo. And then we have a T-shirt that's got planers on the back, which is going to be really cool. And these are ordered, and I'm hoping to get these mid-December so that we have those for the holidays.
Carol, that's a plane.
What did I say?
Planer is the different.
Okay. Thank you, Cal. Okay. Can I what? I'm going to have these hung up on my bulletin board in the office, okay? Mike Blake is gone. Mike Blake was on TV. Anybody who doesn't know that, he was on TV twice talking about Santa's Workshop and the Guild, which was fantastic. We've been trying to get into this TV station for a while, and he got in, and we're really proud of him. He's out gallivanting with his dad, and he wanted me to talk about War Horses, the War Horses event that we were at. It was a great event. We raised about $400 for them. There was about 40 vendors there, so I think that they did pretty good, and I bet you they do it again. And as far as Guild people, I think we sold around $1,700 worth of product that people made. So it was a pretty successful thing, and I bet you we do it again.
Awesome. Thank you, Carol. And sorry about that crack. Just having a little fun. Rich, training.
Okay, I've got a little bit, but I'll try to be quick here. First of all, it is 36 days until Christmas, just in case you need that reminder that it's 36 days. You're welcome. But if you just had one of those oh crap moments, is Thanksgiving really next week and it's only 36 days till Christmas? We have you covered. We have a series of holiday quickie classes that we're going to be offering on Thursday nights, December 4th, December 11th, and December 18th. And up on the slide here, the ones that are in red still have active slots open. The reindeer class and the bookshelf class, all we have are wait slots, but the ones that are red, you can do active classes on that. So if you want to build yourself a rustic Christmas tree or a wreath or do a scroll saw ornament, you can sign up tonight and you'll have a spot in a class. Also, we have on December 13th, we have the Building Wooden Toys class again. We still have slots available for that. So if you need to have something for the young ones or young ones at heart, you can build them a toy. We build 3 trucks in that class, and we build a toy train. So that will fill us out for the rest of the year. Now I want to talk a little bit about what's coming up in 2026. In 2026, we have a fairly full list of classes already, starting in right off in January. Starting January 15th, we will have the basic woodworking class. That class will have sign-up starting December 2nd. If you think you're interested in signing up for this class, my suggestion is to set yourself an alarm on your phone for December 2nd, right before 7 o'clock, because last time that class filled up in 7 minutes. So, then we also have the stick chair class, and they're going to show you. They're bringing their stick chairs tonight to show you. They're going to be coming. I used the chair that was sent to me. So, anyway, we are offering that class again. Also, going to be on Thursday nights. It is going to be starting on January 15th as well. Goes through March 26th. That also will be signing up on December 2nd. So we'll have both of those. And that chair class, I think it went okay, right? Yeah. Yeah. They did all complete a chair. So that is great. And anyway, moving on. Then also, I'm very excited. in January, on January 17th and 18th, we are going to have a class that is practical drawing for craftspeople. For if you've ever thought about drawing, if you ever, being able to sketch your projects out beforehand rather than as you're making mistakes. Casey Ziegler is going to actually be teaching a class on practical drawing for craftspeople. So, okay, that's Casey in case you don't know who Casey is. Yeah. It is going to be great. Then, and that one is going to be enrollment. We'll start on that on December 9th. On December 16th, we're going to start enrollment on a craftsman picture frame class. And that is going to be on January the 25th. Suresh is going to be offering a picture frame class, but instead of doing the traditional miter joints, he's going to be doing half laps, he's going to be doing through mortises, so some different ways of making picture frames. Starting in February 3rd through March 6th, we are going to have another VCarve Pro class. So the VCarve class teaches the program that's behind the CNC. It's not a CNC class, but it's a class on how to. Stuart teaches that class, and that's going to be opening for enrollment on January 6th. Then I want to mention Skill Builders coming up. We've got the Society of American Period Furniture Makers on December 6th. And then we're not going to have one in January. In February, we're going to have one on using router templates for layered inlay. And that's going to be Douglas Cartwright is going to be teaching that, or going to be leading that one. And then last, I'm really excited about this one. Coming in October, I know October's a long ways off, but we're going to have a guy come in. He's going to teach us what's called stereotomy. And stereotomy, if you look at these tables, you can see the complex angles he's got in that. He's going to be teaching a technique for doing that. Patrick Moore is coming. He's from Canada. Going to be coming down here for the week to do that class. I want to let you know about it now so that if any of you, like me, have to plan your vacations ahead of time, that's going to be a full week class that we're going to be using in the shop. If you want to know about the stereotomy and have a more detailed explanation of that, look in the newsletter. I talk about it in depth in the newsletter. So, and that is it for me.
All right, thank you, Rich. A lot of great stuff going on, and I'm sure more things will be coming along down the pipe as well. Okay, we're getting close. The last thing I want to reference is our SIGs, which are our special interest groups. The first is a hand tool group. The next meeting is November 23rd. Wayne, any special topics? No meeting this month. Okay, we'll cross that off. Woodcarvers, the 25th. Are you having a meeting, Dan? So the 25th, the Woodcarvers meet on 6 o'clock. That's typically the fourth Tuesday of the month. So if you're interested in carving at all of any kind, come on out. The guys will help you out. There's no laser SIG this month, but they are offering training. I believe that's correct. And that would be, I'm not sure when the training would be, Craig. One-on-one. So reach out to Craig or Curtis Alexander or John Lundy, okay? And then last, the CNC SIG, the next one is December 15th, and that's with not having it? Okay. Okay, no meeting in December, so we'll punt that one. So the good news is we're done with the meeting, and then we can go to show and tell. So if you have show and tell items, which we have, that's just about all of you, it looks like. Come on up and get ready. We're going to invite the illustrious Jim Bainey to come up, and I want to not be rude, but we're going to we need everyone to hold their show and tell down to like a minute or something like that. So do it as quickly as you can, but we also love seeing your work. So thank you for bringing it.
We have this. The second
Doors
mic.
that way.
The second mic is on. Is it on? Okay.
Yeah, that's the epitome of false advertising when they use the word quality in their advertising.
I'll help you
Yeah.
with the second
It-
mic.
It- Yeah. So, in terms of quality, Dave Kratz and I were really good friends. We go back. I've been a member of this guild for about 30 years, and I got to tell you one story about Dave. We were in the process of doing the Andres project, and it was the first project, and we were building about 60 chairs for Andres, and they were complicated chairs. Dave, so one of the things we were having a problem with is how we were going to attach the legs to these chairs, and traditionally the legs would be tenoned into a hole on the seat. And Dave came up with this process of making a bolster, drilling the holes in a bolster, and then fastening the bolster on the bottom of the seat. And we called that project the Kratz-O-Matic. Yeah, he's going to be missed. I dare say that there isn't anybody in this guild that hasn't learned something from Mr. Kratz. And I'm really going to miss him. Okay, let's start. Steve?
Jim. Okay, Christopher Schwartz wrote his book on campaign furniture, so I'm doing the camp stool. It's in work. This is about hardware. You can get the tri-bolt from Tandy Leather for $12.99, or you can MacGyver it, and Chris Schwartz tells you how to do that with an eye bolt, another bolt, from Ace Hardware for probably $2.95. But he mentions this gorgeous piece of brass and steel, which is available not from Lee Valley, because you can only get it in Canada. And I called the store, one of the stores in Lee Valley in Canada, and they said the manufacturer has not provided the paperwork to export it to the United States. They just don't want to do the paperwork. So my fraternity brother in Montreal went to the store, and I ordered it for pickup, in-store pickup. And he went to the store and picked it up. And he mailed it to me. And a week later, I got an email from Purolator and UPS who said $104.60 was due import charges. Now, that's only a $46 part, and it's gorgeous and worth 46 bucks. But if you want one, my card is on the table next to this little display. I will be in Edmonton and Saskatoon next summer, and there are stores in both those towns, and I have checked they have them in stock, and I will smuggle them across for you. There you go.
Is there anything else we can put on that smuggling list?
Well, yeah, I was in Halifax 3 months ago and stopped at the store. And if you haven't been to a Lee Valley store in Canada, I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, so they're on my shopping list.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Who's next?
Hi.
Hello.
So, whoa. You didn't need that part anyway, did you? Okay. So tell us about this.
It's just a wood carving. A friend of mine gave me the actual piece of bark, and it had the hole in it, or most of it. I had to widen it a little bit, but then I came up with the head for the owl, and it's out of Tupelo, as usual.
So, Dan, did you make a review on this? Oh, yeah. What do you think? Awesome. Where did you get the idea from? Good place. Any particular difficulties with this project?
Trying to figure out how to mount it actually into the piece of wood. So
Okay.
that was tough.
And this is going in your own personal collection?
Yeah, maybe. I might give it to a friend. We'll
Okay.
see.
Am I a friend?
Well, the friend that gave me the piece of wood.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Is this a piece of pine bark?
I have no idea.
Who's a dendrologist in here? Yeah.
I
Okay.
have no clue.
What's your next project?
Doing one with Dan. It's a Blue Jay.
Okay. We'll look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, if I ever get it done.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you. All right. So this is one of a couple different Kumiko pieces that I brought this evening. This is a square grid. We've got a couple hexagonal grids over there as well as the jigs involved. For the sake of time, I'll just show this one. This has over 300 pieces and 1,100 hand-cut angles. This is the result of a class I took back in 2023 with Wayne Peterson and Kevin Thomas. If you have a chance, if you haven't done it yet, the Kumiko class here at the Guild is excellent, and it will take you down a rabbit hole that you'll never get out of. So this is one of the probably 6 different pieces I've made since then. So this is the latest one.
What are you going to do with these?
This is the square grid. I want to do a hexagonal grid about the same size as well as a diamond grid and make a triptych that I'll just hang on my wall.
Okay, so they're going to be wall ornaments.
Yep, and frame it with walnut as the plan.
How did you go about cutting the thin strips?
The thin strips, I did use a table saw just to rip the strips, and then everything else was done by hand.
Okay. So all the angles were cut by hand on.
100%. Yep.
Wow.
And that was the biggest learning effort, was getting everything dialed in my shop. You can't be 90.05. It has to be 90 degrees. It has to be exactly right. Otherwise, it will just compound the error. And so my shop is very well tuned right now. And chisel sharpening, et cetera, is exceptional as a result of this one craft. One piece, actually, I did want to mention the Guild Library. One of the woodworking magazines, Wood issues, had an issue about how random chisels that didn't have good covers, you can take a piece of wood and then a rare earth magnet and then set it in there, and they will just get on and never come off. So I've converted a lot of my chisels to have this type of sheath that won't go anywhere, but comes off as needed. So if you need something like that, can't recommend it enough.
Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome work. Ken, are you next?
I would add anybody who wants to take a class from Wayne Peterson, it'll be worth it.
There you go.
Thank you. My wife wanted a rack to hang her necklaces on, a simple one. And this one's made out of purple heart and whitewood and brass. It'll hang 17 necklaces across and 17 back. The brass is just a brass rod, and then it's got a groove cut in each end of it.
Did you cut the grooves?
Yes,
How'd you do that?
on a little lathe.
Okay.
They're kind of decorative, but I figured out they also might be useful if the wife is taking a necklace off and tips it. They'll stop the necklaces from falling off the end. The hard part was getting the holes in there to put the rods in. I don't know if you've ever tried to drill a straight hole into a piece of purple heart, which is rather hard. It doesn't happen too good. I started off with a nice piece of purple heart with a small drill, went right in there in my drill press, and looked at it, and it bent. there's hard grain within this, and it will bend a twist drill bit.
It's particularly one that small.
Yes. So I tried one with the regular size that would have been just right. Did the same thing. They go in there and they twist. You cannot get 17 of them that will be anywhere as close to what you want.
So how'd you do it?
I got a different wood.
Sorry for asking.
This is just an inexpensive white wood that you buy at the lumber yard, and I dyed it purple. Now you can get purple dye that they dye clothes with, Ritz dye. It will dye anything. Whatever color you want. They got about 35 or 40 colors, and it's a couple of dollars a bottle, which is a lot cheaper than going to one of the wood stores and getting their dyes. Sorry, guys. And anyway, I started off with just a small drill, and it's still messed up. So I ended up using a brad point drill. A brad point drill will give you a much better straight hole. Put that brad point in there and then bring it up to size, and then these just press in there.
Good.
And,
So does your wife have that many necklaces?
Some of them are cheap ones like these. Some are better ones.
Did you buy them all?
Well, nobody else did.
Okay. Very good.
And the finish on it is just purple dye and a satin finish polyurethane.
And your wife likes it?
She's using it.
Good.
She hadn't thrown it at me yet. so-
All right. Thanks for bringing that in. Awesome. Great idea.
Nice project. Thank you.
Hi.
My name's Rich Herbst. This is a chainsaw carving. I did 100% of this with a chainsaw and an angle grinder, so not really high-tech tools. It goes very quickly. A lot of people ask, how long would this take? First one takes a little bit longer, but by the time I've done this a couple of times, this would take about an hour for me to carve this. So
What's the wood?
this is made out of a 6x6 cedar post.
Okay.
It actually was reclaimed. My friend had a deck he was taking down, so I reclaimed the wood out of it and made this out of it. So if you want to see something bigger that I've done, I've got an 8-foot-tall cowboy bear that I did on Johnson Drive. Happens to be between Antioch and Metcalf. Most of the time I do with a chainsaw, a little larger carvings to this. This was done with a chainsaw that, this particular one, I used 2 battery-powered chainsaws. One of them has the face, or the very tip of the chain, the blade itself is the size of a dime. And that's why one tooth at a time comes around and does the cutting. And you can get around and do a lot of detail that way. And that's it.
What do you think, Dan? Good.
Not very detailed. It's just made to be as quick as I can.
Good. And you've done other projects like this?
Yes.
Is that your primary mode of
No.
woodworking?
I mostly do hand carvings, but this
Okay.
is something I started when I retired.
Okay. Very good.
All right.
Thanks for bringing that in. Is this a present?
No.
Are you going to keep it for yourself?
Oh, sorry.
A couple of things. You got a hand drum. What's it in Irish? Baran. Yeah, they're spelled kind of strange. It doesn't spell like you pronounce it. But I make it. I do a lot of work with Native Americans, and this is bison or buffalo with walnut, and I think I used bird's eye, bird's mouth bit in order to do that jointing there. And then my wife's a knitter, and so I make these yarn bowls, put the ball of yarn in there, bring the yarn through here, and it can bounce around inside of there without, the cat might get interested in it, but at least it's not going across the floor and getting all tangled up. And then what I've been doing is I've been adding different patterns so that if you're not, some people like to put a light inside of there and use it as a luminarium. And so that's, and this made out of poplar and oak on the bottom. It makes it fairly heavy so it stays in place.
Okay. So you got two of them because she uses two
Oh,
different...
actually, I made about several dozen of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
You made any other drums?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So are you a member of a drumming circle?
No, not a drumming. No, I don't. We do have a drumming circle, if you want to call it a circle, at the Council on Aging in Leavenworth. But I'm leading a ukulele group for seniors at the same time as they're doing the drumming, so I can't participate in the
So
drumming
you ever
group.
think of getting together?
Well, that would be. We
Just
could
a
do that.
suggestion.
Yeah,
All
get
right.
the ukuleles and the drums together. Sure.
I've been a member of a couple of drumming circles, and I have never made one. That's on my bucket list.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I can show. I have considered that. I mean, if somebody wanted the class, the unfortunate part is these hides are not inexpensive. I get them out of Washington, and the cost of shipping them is almost as much as what it costs for the hides. And then
is the animal dead, or is it still walking around?
Yeah, yeah. It's a great place to visit. They got like thousands of raw hides.
There is a
there.
place in Overland Park, you know, that sells them.
Sells rawhide. Mm-hmm. I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, it's on 87th.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go check them out because rawhide is the difficult part, and then of course the rawhide for the lacing. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Who's next?
Oh, that's to help with George. He taught me how to do all the scroll saw work. So there's a lot of things you can do with those scroll saws there, and that's all scroll saw work on there. Yeah, that's all my original designs, but it is all scroll saw work.
Speaking of scroll saw work, hi George.
Hello, how you doing?
Good.
And by the way, Dave Kratz was one of the founding members of this guild. So anybody under 40, he was part of the guild before you were born. This puzzle here is of a motorcycle. There's 88 pieces in it. So, and it took me a while to do it.
So it's got a bottom in it?
Yes, it has it has a back to it, so it doesn't
Okay.
fall through. I've had to put it together a couple of times, and it can be challenging. So, no, I pull out the book that I got it from.
Did you do that here on one of these saws?
Yes, I did all the scroll work here. I did all the sanding using the drill press over there, and the only thing I did at home was glue the back onto it.
Okay. Is this a present that you're going to give to somebody, or
Well, I'm.
old friend?
How much of a friend am I?
Yeah. Okay.
It will be. I will have it here Saturday for the Santa's workshop. So my
Okay.
intent is to sell it.
Good.
And if it doesn't, then I might put it in the raffle at the Christmas dinner.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that in. How are we doing for time, Cal? Okay.
So my cousin did a painting for me, and I wanted to make something for her, so I made a pencil box. And then I have a couple grandsons that made a couple more and made watch boxes. This is Wenge, and that's Aspen. I did some, it's a pattern carving like Michael Cullen would do. The top was finished with Renaissance wax to keep it light so it didn't yellow, and then this was Odie's oil. And it's hard. That one gaze hard.
Yeah. So this is an exquisite box. And it's got great color variation. So nice job.
Thank you.
Right, so you're giving this away
Yeah.
as a present?
Yeah. But
Awesome.
you're too old to be my grandson.
How about Grandpa? That's an exquisite piece. I really like it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it is. Well, it's probably the watch.
The watch
inside.
is a little bit of it, but yeah, the Wingate's heavy. Yeah.
It's a Rolex.
No, it's a Seiko.
Okay. Thanks for bringing that in.
All right, thank you.
Okay, my name's Dan Quackenbush. I am a scrounger. There was an office across the hall from me. The guys were leaving and they left the furniture. So I took a bunch of stuff for myself and I used one as an outfeed table for my table saw. But they also had a whole bunch of these barrister cabinet slides. If you've ever seen a barrister cabinet, it's in the lawyer's office where the glass thing comes out and then folds down. These are expensive to buy. So I grabbed them thinking I'd build a barrister cabinet, which I never did. So I believe there's 7 pairs up here. If anybody wants them, free.
Awesome.
There's something you can have.
Two of them are mine.
All right.
Hi.
Howdy, Steve. These are what I call twofer bowls. I've just started trying to get into bowl turning a little bit. And rather than getting a big hunk of a tree, I just start out with flat boards and glue them up. And then I cut out from the big one, I cut out the inner part, and that becomes the base for this and also the sides for this. So you get 2 bowls out of one blank that way.
And the wood is walnut?
This is walnut on the bottom, and then this is cherry
Okay.
on the upper deck.
This is exquisite in terms of the thickness of the sides of these, and really, I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, you should have seen it when I was getting greedy. This bowl didn't start out shaped like this. It was going to keep coming this way. And I blew through. I had about a 1/16 of an inch, and I hit a little pinhole knot, and I could see through it. And so I cut it off all the way around and put a new base on it. And getting that to look somewhat seamless was probably the biggest challenge of the whole project.
You have aspirations of doing any more of these?
Yeah, that's fun. I enjoy it.
You're into turning?
Well, yeah, mostly furniture, but furniture making. But the bowls are kind of fun. It's a nice distraction from the other projects. But I want to say real quickly that this cherry I picked up for free, a blank, probably 8-quarter, maybe 6-quarter, 8-quarter piece of cherry at Shackleton Furniture in Bridgewater, Vermont last summer. I got a tour of the place, and they make custom furniture there that sells for, they'll sell you a dining room table for $25,000 or $30,000. I mean, it's really, really, really nice stuff. But they had a big scrap bin. And I asked the guy when he was doing the tour, I said, what do you do with all that? And he said, oh, we burn it or we give it away, wherever. And I said, well, I'm here. So I grabbed a blank, and that's what the cherry is. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, so this is a holiday tabletop sleigh. Quite a journey to make it, to tell you the truth. And this is a combination of mine and my wife's, because my wife, of course, put all the decorations in it. How it all began was I was looking through a Woodsmith magazine, saw this picture. Didn't share the picture with my wife until I knew I could get all the stuff to make it. because I had no idea that they made bendable plywood.
So that's how you got the radius on this?
There's two 1/8 inch bendable plywoods.
Oh, okay.
I had to build a form, which there's many faces in here that helped me, to that point, to get that form built. Where's Ron? Ron back there. He gave me an idea because I brought in this block of 3/4 inch plywood, heavy as all get out, and then he said you could have made that out of 2x4s. I was like, yeah, I probably could have, but the instructions said 3/4 inch plywood. So anyway, this is brass. I had to build a jig to bend those. Got that from Granger. What else? I mean, I know that if is John here? John's not here, is he? Okay,
John, Sloss?
Yeah, no, he's not here. I don't see him. But when I first glued these together, and the plywood would not stay together, and I know there's like people around here. I know Chuck. I'll share something that he's told me, but they would not stay together, so I had to use all these little bitty clamps over here to get them, and they still wouldn't come together all the time, especially on the bottom. And when I showed John, he just picked it up and he looked at it, and there was a piece of walnut that I had sitting out on my bench, and he was like, just put a bottom on it. I was like, okay. So this one doesn't have a walnut bottom on it, but neither here nor there. This one I'm going to probably put in the market for the Santa's Workshop. That one's going to be for sale. And I actually have another one that I'm actually going to get with Matt. Where's Matt? And I'm going to gift it to the guild because of all the help that everybody, Craig, I bounce stuff off him all the time. I used trans-tint dye, and that's one thing that, I bummed some samples from Craig to get the color, so I had to mix some trans-tint.
So this is dyed, not painted.
Right, it's a dye. It's
Okay.
a trans-tint bright red with some black mixed into it to get to that color. I had the color in my head I wanted, and I just kept going and going, and finally got close.
Good. So you've made 2 of them.
I've actually made 12. Yeah, once I sent the picture to my wife, and I knew that after I sourced the materials, she said, yes, let's do those for Christmas. Well, I built 6. Well, then she started making the list of who to give them to, and it came out to be 8.
I bet you're Hobby Lobby's best customers buy all this
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Yeah.
Very
But 12.
good. That's awesome. That's a woodworking trip that not very many people can do. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very cool.
So my wife wanted a cup rack, and I kind of struggled on using graph paper on how to get everything sized just right. And I said, oh, the hell with it. I just drew it out full size. So that's what's on the craft paper here is the lattice. And so I was able to determine the length of each piece that I needed. Hold that for me for a second. And then once I had the proper length on each, just like cutting a box joint jig or a box joint, I made a jig that goes on the sled to cut each lap joint. And then end up with this.
So you're gonna French cleat that on the wall.
Yes, it'll hold up with a French cleat, and it will hold 28 cups, and this will be about 2/3 of my wife's cup collection. So she's already told me the next trip to Florida she's going to fill it up. So she's watching at home now. But it's got kind of a false back here to hide the French cleat on the back, and then I engraved it with a little memento, a little saying on there for her and my logo. So that way the grandkids will have something to fight over when we're gone. And the finish is 2 coats of medium walnut Danish oil.
Okay.
When I cut the lattice, I did the lap joints on the quarter sawn side. So it was a flat sawn board, and then I flipped everything so that you could see the medullary ray popping through. And the Danish oil does a great job of not coloring the medullary ray, so that's why it's so bright on there.
Good.
And the screws actually also reinforce the lap joint. The hardware came from India. I found out I bought one set, but the screws were too widely. It had 2 screws. They were too far apart, so I found this. This hardware is made in India. The screws are very soft from India. And I only managed to break off 2 of the heads. And what's nice about it is it's kind of hard to tell, but I just re-drilled and re-screwed right next to the broken screw. So it was easy to do.
Good. Very good. Thank you for bringing that in.
Now she gets it on her wall.
Okay, we got the chairs next. Look, everybody bring them up at one time. Why don't you put a couple of them up here?
Those are awesome. Here, Alex, you want to speak?
I always want to speak, yes.
I'm Bruce Kuntz. I'm one of the team teachers of the Intro to Hand Tool class. Dave always introduced all of us to the students as master craftsmen, which was certainly not my case. However, I took a little sabbatical, took a couple of cycles off. When I came back, which was the last one he did as well, he introduced me as, "This is Mr. Kuntz, a tool collector." I think I got demoted.
The last one, he said that I was a master chair maker, and so I agree with him fully, just like I've always have. So, yeah, so we just got done with our chair class last night. It went for 10 weeks. 3 of the students are here, missing 1. And everyone finished their chair. We were running out of things to teach them, so we made our own milk paint last night, lime and cork from milk. It doesn't matter. Look it up. And take the class. And so, yeah, we've got an army of chairs here.
I think one of the things that's nice about this is that you see how different the form can be. So all of these chairs have, no 2 of them are exactly alike. They all have different, the only things that are the same on all of them are the rake and splay of the legs. Everything else is different. The tilt of the seat, the angle of the sticks, the shape of the arm, the shape of the comb, the height of the comb, the height of the seat. So you really have an opportunity to make something like very customizable, and also an opportunity where it's like, oh, this is a form that you can return to over and over again without getting bored with it necessarily, because there's
what
lots of...
What species of wood are most of these made out of?
So everyone's gonna get angry at us because these are cherry and they are painted, but usually, and next time we are gonna do a mix of red oak and elm. We'll do elm for the seat, the arm, and the comb, and red oak for the straight grain parts for the next class.
Second question is, how did you do the tapers on the spindles?
So I don't know if the guild would like to buy us a $500 doweling jig that we really want from Veritas, but the students probably think the guild should, because we made them, these sticks are completely shaved by hand. So what you also do is you make your arm first, you flip it over, clamp it to the bench, and you use that arm as kind of like the reference jig for once you get them all to the right height to match your sticks. And it's just a process of a lot of tapering and a lot of checking and fitting.
And talking about the guild buying us those, Chris Schwartz helped us a ton. He helped us every time we had questions. We'd
come up with an answer for us. Ron Hall, he got us some more vices. Bruce donated half the class. Chuck complained the whole time, but he really helped us out. And it's really hard. And then Rob Young, oh my God, he gave us so much. So yeah, whenever he complained a lot too. So yeah, next time just ask yourself, when was the last time you helped these chair makers out? And
So, is anybody of the four of you here? Three. Okay. Are you going to build any more chairs? You're going to do a set. You're going to vary the next design.
Oh, it's got to be varied. Each one needs to be unique. Yeah.
Okay. How many do you plan on building?
I don't know. Until Alex kicks me out of the hand tool room.
Okay.
Until it fits just right.
So yeah, who was the instructor that was here a couple of years ago that did the Windsor chairs? Yeah. Maybe get him back. So.
Or take the class from Alex and Grace in January.
Okay. So, I have a Veritas dowel maker with all the taps. You're more than welcome to use it. If I don't use it very often. I found easier ways to make dowels, actually.
Yeah, so the way you'll do it with the dowel maker is you would start with a rectangular stick and just run like this top half through the dowel maker. That also makes it easier for you to retain the facets on these sticks if you wanted to have. I was here for the chair latch show and tell that was like more heavily faceted. But yeah, thank you so much. We would love to borrow the dowel maker.
And then, did I have pictures ready? Chairs?
Okay.
Oh, so this is not related to the class, but this was a chair that I finished for Pat Campbell, which was a member here. This was the last project he was working on, so I finished this for his wife. She had given me a gift card. I emailed Mike Blake a dozen times to say, hey, it has to be here tonight. It's not, so when's elections again? And but yeah, that was one of the things she gave me to finish it. So when you do see it over there, that's from her. And she just always mentioned how much her husband loved to come to meetings and participate in the raffle and everything. So yeah.
Thank you, guys. Awesome job.
Great job on the chairs. That's awesome. I love seeing the finished chairs. That doesn't happen in any of my classes. So I love it. I love it.
We won't be doing that again.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. One more.
Dave?
Thank you, Calvin. Let's see how we're going to do this.
You want me to hold it?
You got her?
Yep.
All right. It's all right. It's made out of wood. We can fix it. This here is a stallion. It is made from walnut and wingy. As you notice, the walnut's already a dark wood, but when you put it against wingy, it makes it actually look light, which is kind of interesting. This design came from Ken Bennett. He passed away about a year and a half ago. The finish on it is boiled linseed oil and then 3 coats of catalyzed lacquer. The lumber came from one of our meetings here. J. Thomas Home, he did the floating mantles. I don't know if you remember how he made those floating mantles, but he gave a demonstration. He had some wood scraps, so he sells them for like $1.25 a pound or so for guild members. So I went over there and just took them off the top. I didn't pick and choose. He's a busy man. Went in there, got some alder and walnut, and started making it from there. Any questions?
Why'd you pick this week to bring in the Denver Broncos?
They are winning, though, aren't they? Whew. All right.
Very good.
All right.
So this goes to your collection?
No, it's going to go to a charity auction, war horses in the spring. There's going to be an auction, and it's
Okay.
going to go into there
All
to
right.
their organization. So
Very good.
yeah.
Thanks.
If you have any questions on this, I'll be over there. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And y'all did a great job getting through quickly, so I really appreciate that. We're going to take about an 8-minute intermission, and we'll be back up with Mary. So feel free to come up and check out the stuff, check out the raffle, go grab a drink, a cookie, and we'll be back in 8 minutes. So
You may have thought Santa's Workshop was only at the North Pole, but that's not the case.
Yeah, there's actually a satellite facility here in KC with the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild, and here with the details is Director of Sponsorship, Mike Blake. Thank you so much for being back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Well, obviously, when you're talking about Santa's Workshop, it's very exciting. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the Woodworkers Guild. What are you guys all about?
Yeah, so the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild is a nonprofit organization in Kansas City, and we are open to anyone who has an interest in woodworking. If you would like to become a member, go to our website at kcwg.org and click Become a Member, and it'll walk you through the process.
So
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Now, we
Yeah.
obviously need to talk about Santa's Workshop.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about how this event also really helps the kiddos in your guys' community.
Yeah, so annually the Woodshop, as a charitable give back or gift, what we do is we open up the Woodshop to a Santa's Workshop, and we have anywhere from 500 to 750 children that participate. And in addition to the Santa's Workshop, we also have a marketplace where adults can come in and shop for things that were built by our members throughout the year.
That's so cool. And I love that you're helping out Santa during this time of year, too, because he's
Yep.
very busy. So
Very
the extra
busy.
help, I'm sure, is appreciated.
Sure.
We're going to get in here and learn how to build some of this stuff, too. So what are we doing?
Yeah, so when the kids, children show up to the workshop, you'll receive a prepackaged bag of components, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to build one of these toy trucks.
Okay.
And so
man.
the children will come in, they will be met by an elf, and then they will go to approximately 8 different stations where we will have elves that are utilizing tools in the wood shop, and we'll drill holes and cut out the shape for the children.
Okay.
And then once the shape's cut out, they'll go into the assembly room and they'll start banging all these parts together.
With these hammers, which has got to be so much fun, too.
Yes,
This is what
right.
you're the most excited
I'm
about.
just like, I'll sit here for hours just building these trucks. Okay, so you go axle in, and then you just throw the other tire on the side?
Axle in, throw the tire on the other side, and you're going to bang that together.
Okay. All right, here we go.
I feel really good about this.
There you go.
That's right. You feel kind of like an elf.
You kind of look like one.
Oh, whoa.
I'm just kidding. I'm
fired.
just kidding.
Shots fired. Okay,
Shots
I'll go this
fired. Okay, we're still cruising
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Now, how long does it take for the kiddos usually to go through this whole
Yeah,
process?
you know, I'll be honest with you. I would encourage you to show up early because
Yeah.
the line gets long.
Okay.
And it takes approximately 45 minutes to an hour. At the end of the workshop, where after the children are done assembling the components, they will take the truck to Santa Claus and hand it to Santa Claus, and Santa Claus will complete an inspection. And he will go through and tell all the
An
children.
inspection, you
Yeah.
say.
The pressure is on. After the
Should
inspection,
I,
is
let me
Santa...
take let me take
I
a
don't know
look.
about
Let me
Mike,
take
it's
a
not
look.
done
It looks
yet.
good. It looks
It
good.
just needs some time.
You know, they're doing great.
put the
These
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
No, listen, it's fine, it's fine, it's
Here we
fine.
go. We'll just
Nobody
finish that up.
look.
Now,
There
if
you
Santa
go.
does give them the seal of approval, do they get anything afterwards?
After Santa Claus gives them the seal of approval, the children will receive a certificate of toy craftsmanship, and then they become qualified to become elves at the North Pole to build toys for children in the future.
So cool. A certificate from the big man himself.
That's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah.
That is a game changer. Well, if people want to learn more, they want to get all the details on this workshop, the market, all that you guys do at the Woodworkers Guild, what's the best way to get those details?
Yep, kcwg.org is our website. We have Facebook at Kansas City Woodworkers Guild, and you can always just reach out to us and at the Guild. We're located downtown, 1 block west of the Kaufman Performing Arts Center.
Well,
There
very
you
cool. Well,
go.
Mike, thank you so much. And please just give us a little bit more time to work on these before you show these to
Yeah,
Santa.
sure,
That'd be
sure.
great.
Yeah, no,
Well,
it's fine,
actually,
it's fine.
actually, I have brought certificates of toy buildership for each of you. Kerrigan, you've done such a great job. Shane, super.
Thank you so much.
This
How
is
cool is
everything
that?
we've ever wanted.
That's
This
amazing.
is perfect.
Mike, thank you again.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Laura Provance, and welcome to another of the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild ongoing series of machine safety videos. Today's video will cover your introduction to the safety rules and requirements of the Guild's radial arm saw and how to safely operate this piece of equipment. Keep in mind that like all safety videos, this video only covers the safety concerns and is not a complete training program for the use of the saw. Remember, anytime you're in the shop, to have your safety glasses with side shield. The radial arm saw in the Guild's shop has been set up for cutting lumber to length only. While a radial arm saw can be adjusted to make a wide variety of cuts, our saw is set up to only make a 90-degree square cut. A radial arm saw is a saw mounted on an upper rigid track, allowing the saw to make wide, precise crosscuts. Cuts are made holding the wood to the fence and pulling the saw across the wood. The minimum length of stock permitted to be cut on the radial arm saw is 12 inches. The blade of the radial arm saw rotates such that the force of the blade on the wood is down and back towards the fence. Stock must be placed so that it will not move during the cut. The stock must remain firmly on the table and firmly against the fence at the line of the cut. Bores with bow must be positioned with the belly of the bow to the fence so the board will not move toward the fence during the cut. Likewise, boards with cup or twist need to be firmly supported on the table to avoid any movement during the cut. This may require the insertion of a shim under the board to offer additional support to make it safe to make your cut. Make sure that thicker stock does not contact the blade when it is placed against the fence. Thicker stock may need to be shimmed out from the fence by placing a temporary auxiliary fence between your stock and the machine's installed fence. If they are needed, any shims or auxiliary fences should be in place before you turn on the radial arm saw. Realize that the 3-inch rule applies to a strip 3 inches on either side of the blade. The 3-inch rule applies to the entire length of the travel of the blade across the table. To make a cut, start by ensuring you are not in conflict with someone on the miter saw, since you share a common work area. Turn on the dust collector at the mounted remote control. Place your stock securely on the table. Turn on the saw. Assume a stable stance and grasp the saw handle with your right hand, and with your left hand hold the stock firmly down to the table and against the fence. Remember the 3-inch rule. Pull the saw smoothly through the wood. Do not pull the saw faster than the blade can cut the stock. Realize that the saw is heavy and has inertia, so you must control the speed of the cut. When your stock has been cut completely, push the saw back to its starting position. With the saw safely back in its starting position, turn off the saw and wait for the blade to come to a complete stop. Turn off the dust collector and take a moment to clean up your work area. This is Laura Provance. Thanks for watching.
Not for the moment. Raffle is done. Not right now. Apologies.
Okay, I think we're going to get started. I'm super excited. Come on up, Mary. I guess we're going to present from wherever you are, but so Mary May, she's actually been here at the Guild before. It's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. We were trying to remember. It might have been the COVID year. I've known of Mary and her work for many, many years because of my associations with period furniture and period carving. And Mary actually collaborated with my dad probably 10 years ago on the carving some special tables that and so she taught at my dad's shop. So it's just a great privilege now. She lives in the Midwest, but I'll let her talk about that. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Mary.
Well, thank you very much. We're in the process of relocating from Charleston, South Carolina to Lake of the Ozarks. We kind of fell in love with the area there, and I started a school this year, an actual in-person school there. So I'll share more about that, but I'm very excited about that. And when I'm not teaching at the school there, it is my workshop, and it overlooks the lake, and it's absolutely beautiful. Yes. Yes. I was just thinking about a bunch of my series of workshops through the years. One was actually this dungeon basement, with like water dripping down the walls. I'm like, man, I have arrived. Thinking back. All right, I'm gonna actually do the slideshow right now, and it'll just sort of introduce, a little bit of my history and share some of my work. So I'll just get into that real quick. So this is actually a picture. Can everybody see this okay? Okay. This is a picture of my family. I'm the little girl sitting on my daddy's lap. I'm the youngest of 5. And if you look at that, that is actually a trimaran that is in the process of being built. And so the story behind this is my father had this dream of building a boat. And I don't know if the dream was actually taking his family with him, but the fact is, we were there, and we were coming with them. So we ended up actually, we were living in the suburbs of Chicago. My dad was working in Chicago, and he built this trimaran, and we ended up living on this boat for a year and went down the Mississippi. We started in Chicago, went down the Mississippi, and then around the Bahamas. And so I guess, well, actually, let me just share the next slide. We did it again when I was older. Now that year I was 3 and 4 when we went on that boat. And this next one, it was 7 years later. He did it again. He and his brother built another boat, and we ended up living on it for another year. Started down in Florida, went to the Bahamas, went up the the Intercoastal Waterway. That I remember obviously a lot more. It was a very interesting experience in life. And I guess I'd look back at that as a kind of an inspiration of kind of living your dreams, really. Being able to, not being afraid of living your dreams, no matter how many people were saying, you're insane, you're taking your family, it's dangerous, blah, 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 all that. No. So I think that sort of inspired all of us children to pretty much get into something that we really dreamed about and not being afraid to do it. So that's kind of where I ended up being a woodcarver in the long run. Kind of an odd career, I'd say. Another thing, sort of looking back at my childhood, I was a very strange child. So in the middle of, or at the end of summer, you've got these zucchinis that are way overgrown, and they're just ridiculously beyond edible. And so I would go into the garden and take these overgrown zucchinis, and I would just start cutting into them. I would take, just make faces and whatever. I would walk around, so I'd carve it like this, where it sort of comes down into the neck, and I'd walk around, and it'd be like one of those bobbleheads until it fell off. So yeah, Halloween was my favorite holiday just because of the, cutting pumpkins. It was just weird. So I always had thought about three-dimensional things, always enjoyed carving, I enjoyed working in clay. Always there was something there already. I could see it back then. I had no idea where it was going to lead. So my first real interest in wood carving, or stone carving actually at the time also, was a trip to Europe, and I actually was studying over there and really thinking that maybe I was born about 100 years too late to do 100, more like 300 years too late. So to do this type of work, that's St. Paul's Cathedral in England, in London. It was absolutely stunning, and I just was enamored with that type of work and just thought, nah, it's just not being done anymore. And so I ended up going back. I was living in Minnesota at the time, and I picked up a piece of, believe it or not, that's hickory. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. I just picked up a piece of wood out of a scrap building pile, and I had a very dull chisel, and I had one of the big rubber mallets, and I had a lot of sandpaper and a rasp, and I started. I want to carve. I want to carve. I had it in me. I really wanted to do this, and I realized after doing that took 3 days to do, and I still have it. I kept that one, and I realized that I desperately needed a teacher at this point. So that is when I met Konstantinos Papadakis. Has anybody ever heard of him? Up in Minnesota. He recently passed away in March of this year. Yeah, he was 88, I believe. But he was still carving up until probably a few months before he passed away. But traditional Greek carver, and really learned the old apprenticeship way. Learned when he was 12 years old, he quit school, and that was what he was going to do for the rest of his life. I think back to when I was 12 years old, what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an Olympic gymnast, so I don't know. Not sure if those choices at 12-year-old are always very wise. I was way too tall to be a gymnast. So yeah, I worked with Konstantinos, and I actually apprenticed with him for about 3 years. And if you have ever been inside a Greek Orthodox church, this is the style. It's called the Byzantine style. Is there a Greek Orthodox church in Kansas City?
Yeah, there's one on Greenwood on 119th Street.
Okay, is it inside really nicely carved?
Really nice.
Okay.
There's a story to it, but yeah, it's really nice. It's one of those huge.
Yeah, with big dome.
Like 32 feet there, and 20-something feet tall.
I'd love to stop. I'm wondering, do you know if you can go into it during the day?
I can give you, yeah.
Okay, all right. I'd love to see it. Anytime I have an opportunity to see that. But this type of carving, very, very precise, precision, scroll work, leaf work. And that actually is a piece I still have. That was kind of my graduation piece. I carved it, designed it and carved it to basically show that I could go on my own working. And so this is just one of my very first pieces that I did just kind of on my own. I always wanted to give the impression of movement in wood. And this was one of my attempts to show kind of flames, or it could be seaweed or whatever. It was actually trying to be flames, but I'm looking at it now going, it looks more like seaweed. So that was one of my desires. That was just, and I actually, kind of sadly, I haven't really had a lot of opportunity to do my own designs. So right when you start, you have a little bit more opportunity to do that. But so who knows? Maybe if I ever have time to actually do my own thing, maybe I'll do that. Get back into that. The Art Nouveau furniture is what I really want to do, that very flowing thing. Okay, so this is some of the work that I have done on period furniture. And the styles that I learned, the European styles, really transitioned well into working with the Society of American Period Furniture Makers, because that's kind of how I started doing the transition between in incorporating both that traditional style and learning those really the period furniture details, the ball and claw feet, a lot of acanthus leaves. And so what I do is I actually, a lot of the members of the Society of American Period Furniture Makers send me like a leg or two legs to basically, I can do the square thing, but this round or curved thing just boggles my mind. So that's where I am. I do the weird stuff that, that a lot of the engineers that are doing the square boxes say, no. Okay, so this is a part of that detail. Actually, let me go back to that one. This is one that I actually have in my house. I carved two of them, carved the details for two, and a friend of mine back in Charleston built two of them, and he got one and I got one. And I thought that was a pretty good deal. This is some of the details of that as I was working. The Goddard Townsend chest of drawers, if you're familiar with that period furniture, this is a very popular one that is seen. The convex and concave Newport, or the shells. I thought I had another one. Anyway, that secretary I saw, who built that secretary? That was beautiful. I carved the shells for one of those also. You know what? One of those at auction, one of the originals at auction, do you know what that sold for? It's something like that. Like, yeah, 12 million. And yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what they're going for now. If you could only get like a fraction of that for reproduction. Okay, so doing a lot of the crosses. That's a Celtic cross on the right, and then that's actually kind of the Byzantine style crosses. And these are just some samples of some of the other pieces I've done. The Green Man, that is actually in mahogany, and this is one, it's a restoration that, if you look at that, the face, the dark colored wood up on the top left, that's the original, and it was just collapsing. It had been outside for probably 100 years, and they needed it reproduced, so that's partially finished, and then that's finished. What's nice is having something in front of you that you can refer to and you can measure, and that certainly helps. This is a detail that, or a fireplace mantle that I carved in Charleston. That's a very typical detail, that kind of detail that they like in the Charleston homes. And that's my old shop. You can see the tools on the wall hung up by magnets. And I'm now relocated though. And this is a project, kind of one of the biggest projects I've done as a restoration of a fireplace in Charleston. And they painted it. I carved it in mahogany and they painted it. Just makes you want to cry. But they had done some investigating on this old mantle. If you look on the left, that's all, see the painted. They actually went through 15 layers of paint to find, and I can't even imagine doing that, one very patiently, layer after layer, finding the location, finding the pattern of what was there 100 years ago. And so they actually found it, and they found that scroll on the overmantel. And so that's what we based it on. Plus, we kind of based it on what was around there of other houses that were carved, that had that kind of carving within like 2 blocks of that. And this is something you'll appreciate as woodworkers. This is, that shell niche that sort of is set into the wall. All right, so if you think about it, you look at the shell niche there. It's half round this way, but when it goes into the wall, it is an ellipse, right? It's not a full quarter sphere. All right, so how do you lay something like that out? So if you think about it, what we did was basically took a grid paper, just as simple as anything. Didn't use a computer or anything like that. Used grid paper. We had basswood, and this is made in basswood. I had 2-inch thick pieces of basswood, and so basically every grid was 1 inch. All right, spaced it out, okay, measured it out on the grid, because it's easy if you've got round, I mean, or half round is simple to gauge, right? Well, how do you do an ellipse? So basically, you find the ellipse shape and you line that up along the grid paper and find the corners of where that joins, all right? Make a series of, see if the upper right, a series of radius, this is the half round that's cut out this way, it's the ellipse that way. You basically, based on that grid paper, what the size of that circle is, and you just lay it out. Now the thing is, then we just glued it up, and you can kind of see the ellipse shape, the line in there, all right? So once you get that, then you just basically take a grinder, grind everything away just up to the glue joint, and it was perfect. It worked. I actually, I made an article, I wrote an article about that in one of the SAPFM journals. Do you guys have collections of those? Anyway, if you're interested in doing that in the library here, I'm guessing you probably do. But anyway, I wrote about that. So if you are interested in doing that and figuring that out, but it was quite a mathematical mind explosion. And this is something I do a lot in Charleston, a lot of ionic capitals and sort of that traditional with all the big antebellum homes. And this is one I'm doing just now, actually. I'm working on it right now. It is for a home in Boston. This is 65 inches wide. It is a fireplace mantle, and I actually have one side of it, gently, one side of it is here. And it's actually made out of lime wood. It's not basswood. I had to ship it over from Germany because the customer, if you're familiar with Grinling Gibbons, are you familiar with Grinling Gibbons? Just that really detailed 17th century woodcarver in England that just did amazingly detailed carvings, kind of similar to that. But the customer wanted a Grinling Gibbons style carving, so really pushing me past my comfort and past that. Yeah, here's another picture. This is the lower one was just taken a photograph about a week ago. Okay, so that's basically how it is. It goes about 65 inches wide from one side to the other. And then that was the basket, the center basket. When I brought it to the customer and I said, "What do you think?" And she was so excited. So I was like, phew. It was a little nerve-wracking. But no, very excited about doing this project. It's probably one of the most complex, intense projects I've ever worked on. So very excited about that. Let's see, go carve a few faces. Not very, I don't do it very much, so it always is a challenge to me when I do have an opportunity to. It's a lot easier to carve faces with their eyes closed, by the way. Don't have to deal with that eye thing. And this is actually kind of interesting. This is stone carving. I do a little bit of stone carving. I carved that about 6 months before I met my husband, and it looks kind of like my husband. So I thought, ooh, there's something happening there. And this is actually something I did during COVID. I did a live stream where I was reproducing a marble bust. So I was given the marble bust to fix. So she had fallen, her nose had broken, so I fixed that. I had her in my shop, and I asked the client if I could borrow her for about 2 months. And so every day at 12 o'clock noon, I carved for an hour on live TV. And that was about 20 episodes. And if you go onto my YouTube channel, it's now all available on my YouTube channel. I think 19 episodes. So you can watch her from a big chunky block of basswood to that. I also do some stone carving. This is probably the biggest projects that I've ever done with stone. 8-foot tall limestone dolphins. And That's the finished one right there on lower left, with the actual fountain going. And if you're familiar or if you're interested in learning carving, I do have an online school. It's been going on for now almost 14 years. And there are probably about 340 video lessons, and I keep adding new ones. So there is currently a 7-day free trial if you're interested and just kind of get a feel for it. Sometimes people like this kind of carving using the long handle gouges like this. Sometimes people use the knives to cut. I don't use the knives, they always cut me. These things don't cut me, not generally. But you know what? I didn't even put in here my. I have to. There's a bunch of flyers on the way out about my school, my new school. It's in Lake of the Ozarks in Gravois Mills. If you're interested or if you know about the area, I can't believe I didn't even include that here. Anyway, beautiful view overlooking the Lake of the Ozarks. I just started the school this past summer. Check on my website. I've got classes scheduled through August of next year, and they're all sorts of beginners. It's a nice kind of, it's a small school that probably fit no more than 6 to 8 students, and really it ends up being more like 3 or 4, and so you can come either as a beginner, you can come in as an experienced carver. It's small enough of a school that you can pretty much kind of customize the class, but it's
Mary.
Yeah.
I got your website up on the screen.
Oh.
Do you need to look at something?
Oh, can you click on so it says more info? Right in the picture, on the picture. So that's the view from the school. Pretty rough, huh? Yeah. I don't get much work done. But no, I love it. I love the place. And anyway, so if you go down just a little bit more, please. And that's the schedule all the way through August of next year. And there's one class coming up in December 4th, 5th, and 6th, and it is basically carving for furniture makers. And it's a beginner class, but as I said, if you have experience carving and you want to just work on something else, you're welcome to come. So, anyway, okay, let's. Did I continue on? Yeah. I know I'm kind of limited with time, so I did want to do a demo. So I carved my first book. My husband. My husband laughs every time I say that. My first, he says, "You mean you've got more?" So I think it was more painful for him than myself. But it is on carving the acanthus leaf. And how many of you have never heard the word acanthus leaf? Yeah, usually about half. It's kind of an obscure topic, but once you actually know what it is, you have seen it everywhere. You just may not have identified it as what it is or what the name of it is. But it is that leaf that is that scrolling leaf that pretty much is everywhere. I'll show you a couple samples of it. This actually, I just a year or two ago, I can't remember, wrote an article for Fine Woodworking, and this was in the Fine Woodworking article. But that's very typical symmetrical acanthus leaf. You get this type of thing where you get it sort of scrolling, all right, like that. And you get this type of thing. So what's funny is, you look at that, don't look anything the same, do they? Oh, okay. They don't look anything the same, but they are actually the same leaf. And there are particular details in the leaf that I, believe it or not, figured out how to write a 300 and some page book on leaf. That's how much information there is. But I wanted to, what did I do with that? Oh, this is actually a simpler one. So as a demo, I actually wanted to show you, talk about some of the techniques of carving and also show you a demonstration on it, on actually drawing it too. So let me just see. So we're going to be able to do a kind of a close-up over here. So the one thing about what's the best position to be? One thing I really focus on in my book is basically drawing the acanthus leaf, because once you understand how to draw it, it just makes the carving so much easier, because there's a lot of details in the actual carving that just kind of help make it make sense. So I'm going to show you real quickly, and we're going to kind of rush through this a bit, but typically, you know, when you have that symmetrical, let me just grab this. Have this sort of symmetrical leaf, all right, even on one side, versus this one, which has sort of twisted, and this is really what you see typically on that sort of maybe along a mirror frame or something like that, where it continues like that. Or you can even see like sometimes freezes along the upper edge of the room, and you see this repetitive decoration going around. All of that is considered an acanthus leaf. So I'm going to show you real quickly how to, you going to be able to do this? Okay. So real quickly, for a straight one, for just that symmetrical one, what I do is you just start with a leaf like that, and then you have the center vein down there, and then what you do is you divide this up into, you know, equal spaces, all right, come down here, and then what happens is there's a little kind of a twist right there, and if you imagine that to kind of come around like that, and that is actually considered an eye, all right, and on a leaf, that's actually the deepest, it's like a hole in the leaf where you're actually looking through the leaf, but on a carving, it's like this, where it's really kind of the deepest area of the carving, where it looks like it's a hole. Not necessarily a hole drilled in, but it tends to be the deepest area. And the same thing there. Imagine it going underneath and then coming up there, forming that next one. So again, this is the, okay. And then at that point, then it starts to get a little bit more elaborate. You get little segments of the leaf, and then you can get even more and just break it up and kind of detail it like that. Oops. I wrote the book on it. 5 years of my life. Okay, and then from this point, now there's also something called a pipe, all right? So where you have this eye, you have this pipe coming down, which is actually a raised area. All right, and I want to show you a few other details. You see this, typically, this is the leaf that's on the knee of a cabriole leg. That's also considered an acanthus leaf. And if you look at that, I don't know if you can see the details. So you've got the eye, and then you've got this raised area, this raised area flowing down from that eye. And so this is actually a really flat leaf, but there's certain details in it that just make it that much more three-dimensional. So now then this one, you see that there's the eye, and then there's a pipe, the eye, pipe, all right? So it's just like this little ripple, and what it is basically, as you fold the leaf over and overlap, it just gives this little bit of a bump. And it actually, the leaf itself is actually a real leaf. There is a real acanthus leaf, and I will try to find that real quickly. Here, picture. See that? All right, and that's got the center sort of midrib down there, and then it splays out all the different things. And you can kind of see where some of these, I mean, obviously they took a lot of artistic liberty as all of these change. But there are a lot of details that do kind of continue along similar through all the styles. But you can see all the different lobes. And sometimes you can even see that little eye and the little raised area. Okay. And then what you do is there's other, the center vein there, and then you can do second center veins along there and just flow. But the one thing that is really, really important with drawing this and then eventually carving it is the flow of the lines. All right, so all of these lines, right, so this one here, do you see every one of these lines flows down towards the base? If any one of these lines, whether it is an outside edge, whether it's the pipe, if any of those just sort of veer off, your eye's going to catch it, but you're not going to know, maybe not know what's wrong, but it just doesn't all flow. And especially when you're talking about these, you see all of these, the vein lines, any kind of the pipe, everything flows down towards that base. And this one actually is a good one that shows a lot of shadow. Okay, because I put a finish on that one, but you can see all of those lines flowing down. And this actually shows the pipe a lot better too. A raised area there, raised area there. And so the pipe that flows down from the eye is kind of, really represents kind of the highest point in that leaf. Okay. And so now this is a symmetrical one that I drew. Now I'm going to show you how you end up getting this type of thing where you have it, this right here, that's actually is the center of the leaf, and the other leaf is sort of, imagine flipping it back and you can't see the other side. Okay, so the center comes right here, and this is basically one of those little lobes. All right, so what you do with that one is you take, and it's more, I have to see if I can figure this out and draw it the right way so you can. What am I doing here? Like that? Something like that, anyway. That's the idea. And then that's actually where you can kind of curl the leaf. You can really do this flow, but so an S shape down there, this is probably not going to work great, but the same concept of taking and separating these areas like that, and then you got the eye, so same concept, and then you got that kind of overlapping, the eye. You can do the same thing on this side. Okay, and then the pipe flows down. Everything though flowing towards the base. And then, okay, and then we can start separating that. So you can see how you got this very symmetrical thing. So typically where you find the symmetrical one is on maybe like a corbel, like a bracket. So it flows down there. That's where you would find this type of thing. And then this would be more where you're going to want to have it continuous, where you're going to have that, where you can actually have it flow and not really stop, almost like a vine, really. And so what happens then is if you can do then the same thing, separate it, all right, separate all the little and do more details on that, okay? But what happens then is you can take this, if you imagine this to basically fold at that point, that is where you would have something like that. All right? So does that make any sense? So just completely take away this part here and then have this obviously a little better drawn than that, but that would be twisting around. And then you would, do the detail segments there. Okay. But that's how you get that half leaf detail. It's based on this as an S shape. Okay, are there any questions? Because I'm gonna go ahead, and I just did a quick SketchUp of a leaf. I'm gonna try to carve this in like record time. We'll give it a shot anyway. And I'll talk you through just some of the things that I use for carving. And as I mentioned, the tools that I use, use a mallet. These are the long handle gouges, all right? And the reason I use these is a lot of time for safety and mainly really for control. Because as I'm using them, generally I'm using them like this with both hands, right and left hand. I always encourage my students really to, it's like the first day of class, to turn the wood, or turn around and actually lead with whatever hand you're not comfortable with. And usually what happens is, after the first day of pushing through that, it's the same. There's no difference between right and left hand. Ooh. Awake. One thing I like is these little brass or steel mallets. Little over a pound, maybe 1 1/3 pounds, something like that. Lighter ones, the really light mallets, are almost too light, like less than a pound. It's almost too light to really do the work that's needed. If you're having to actually force it with your, using your muscles really, then the mallet's not doing the work. And anything large, heavier than like 1.5 pounds ends up just, gets exhausting. But this is actually, if you can take a picture, if you're wanting to make one yourself, this is a really great little shape. A friend of mine used to make these. Unfortunately, he's passed away. He was trying to sell the design patent, but you're free to copy this if you want to turn something, make it. It's really beautiful. What it's based on is a stone carver's lettering mallet. And so it's just a really nice, for both if you're really wanting to wail on it or if you're wanting to do the control cuts. The reason I like the small head like this is I hold on to it like this quite often and do little tapping for really good control cuts of, quite often I've got a V-chisel here in my hand for doing, if you're wanting to draw along a particular edge, it really helps to control that rather than just pushing through. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my V-chisel and I'm just going to outline this. We're going to do a quick outline. Now, the funny thing is about this, I can't use this with my left hand. So I'm waiting for some brilliant engineer to design a left-handed mallet. Anybody interested? Nobody's taken me up on it. Just to be it, so I can use it with my left hand. Just put an L on it and sell it for twice as much. Just for yeah, I think maybe I should patent that one. That's where I'm going to make my million, not writing books. Making a left-handed mallet. So there's sometimes when I have to turn the wood around because I really don't like to cut towards myself or get really weird angles. So that's kind of one of the things that I really focus on is making sure that as I'm carving, I never am pointing it towards myself, and when I'm not using a mallet, I'm always holding onto it with both hands, and I'll show you that in a second. But I never use these long handled mallets as a one-handed, sorry, I never use the carving tools one-handed, these larger ones, because that's really where you start to, there's a temptation as long as they are one hand's here and you're doing something like that. Not a good idea. And I always end up cutting myself with the little knives. So, I mean, the other day I was working on that, the mantle. I just used a little tiny knife. I'm like, no, I just want to do this one little cut. You know, and that little voice is saying, oh yeah, famous last words, and just slice my thumb right open. I don't know. I wasn't officially trained how to use the knives. I learned, when I started carving, I started with these. So I guess you just get comfortable with them and, safety, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start, just going to take this. So this is rounded over. Now, again, what I'd like to do with these is I have a very hard callus right here because this is pretty much touching wood all the time. If it's not, there's really, there's no control over it. And so what I'm doing is basically controlling it like that, all right? So switch it left hand, right hand. And this wood that I'm using here is basswood, really nice, easy wood to start out with, and I generally do that with classes, is I start with basswood, and then just so you can kind of get to understand how the grain works. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking this, this is pretty close to the carving that I'm going to be doing, very similar, where it's rounding over this way. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take and layer this one over that one over that one. So typically the order of things that I do on a shallow relief carving is kind of identify any overlapping, if there is any. All right, oops, I think I need to, okay, and then I'm going to show you how to do this, the eye, and as I said, that's sort of to represent the deepest area of the carving, and this is actually a number 11, which is a U-shaped tool, and try to get that nice and deep, and then take this and just a nice deep area there, and then this looks, to make that look like it's going underneath, just a little step down. Okay, so that's why you can really make some dramatic illusion of depth by just simply making one area look like it is overlapping. Okay. Again, make the hole right there. Now, on my in my book, I go over a lot of these details, like step by step. What tool you use, where you cut this, because these are all really critical detail cuts that really show that really important details. Okay, so already we got a little bit of an overlapping look, and then what I'm going to do, is there any way, how close can that camera get? Is that pretty much? Ah, there we go, yeah, because there's a little detail cut that I want to show. But now this is where you can, I can take and hollow these sections there. Am I blocking it with my head? A little, okay, I'll try to back off. Sorry. Okay, so again, every line that you're making, whether it is a shadow line like that, whatever it is, it all should flow down towards the base of the leaf. And now I'm going to take a number 11, the same one that I used for that eye, and I'm going to make a pipe. And what I'm going to do is right alongside that eye, I'm going to take and carve carve that. And then this one. Okay, and then just keep on sort of, I'll soften that a little bit. Okay, you see how switching quickly from right to left hand really helps when you're dealing with grain direction, and certain areas will let you go one direction. So I'm actually softening this and kind of making it look like it's more kind of rolling rather than a really sharp edge. Now normally, this is actually quite low. Normally I would carve at about an inch or two below elbow. And that's what I would recommend if you're carving, is to have the height. Because I mean this is a short demo, but if I was going to do this for 8 hours a day, that would get old. All right, so I'm just going to do a quick curving around like that, and then just hollowing out some of these little lobes there. But I want to show you a wonderful little cut. Oh yeah, that's perfect, thank you. Now, see if I can find this with this. So, when I've got these little areas here, where's my pencil go? Oh well. So there's an area here. All right. Pencil? Oh well, anyway. Okay, so where you get this little sort of edge on the leaf, call it a serration, that, to give the illusion that that is very slightly overlapping the next one. I'm going to make this cut. I'm going to try to get it a little bigger so that you can see what's going on. All right, and it's a cut there. Basically, again, it's coming down, pointing towards the leaf, and then you make a little notch out of that. And it's a pretty dramatic shape. Did that show up? Okay. I didn't hear any ooh, ooh. I was waiting. I was waiting for the excitement, you know? Okay, ooh, ah.
We expect it to be good.
Okay, but you can end up doing this in a completely flat leaf, and it will really create some dramatic depth. And so even on this, you've got that, every little area has got that little serration, that little step. But this is almost a perfectly flat, there we go. Just took a little.
Do you undercut anything?
You're talking about on the outer edge, or?
No, like when one's overlapping the other.
You know, it's such a tiny amount. If anything, maybe just a little bit of an angle in, but not anything real dramatic. Unless you were doing something very, full three-dimensional leaf, I wouldn't typically do that. But you could probably go along the outer edge and do some undercutting there and make it show up a little bit better. So the only thing I haven't done on this, I haven't done any V-cuts, sort of vein lines down the center. And I am kind of rushing through some of these details. Now one thing about the vein lines is you don't necessarily want to make them look like regular leaves where the vein comes out of a center vein. They actually all flow towards the base, but they never touch each other. Right? They disappear, fade off before they actually run into one another or end up actually running in like a realistic leaf. This is where, the artistic liberty just steps right in. And so it's really just more kind of illusion. So you're really just so more of that sort of drawing your eye down to that base. And then what happens on the end here, this is just a rounding of this to make it look like it's kind of curling up. All right, so this is rounded on this side, kind of just like a ball on the end of it. And obviously, as shallow as it is, what you want to do is just round over the outer edge. And that's kind of a way of tricking the eye into looking like it's a lot deeper than it is. A good example of that is a quarter. You look at the face on a quarter. It's mostly rounded along the outer edges. And it's got enough information on it to say, it's a face, but it's the majority of the actual rounding is just along the outer edge. And that's one of those tricks of sort of making something look a lot deeper than it actually is. And now, so this piece right there is basically one of these, but it's curling. So I'm going to go like that. So same thing. It's going to be that kind of a step there. Ooh. All right. Work with me. There we go. Okay, and then this is and then adding a little bit more as that sort of twists around, just accentuate the twist by making the vein look like it's twisting also the vein line. See it better angled? Tip it that way. Thank you. Are there any questions? Looks like What's that?
Said you're not going to find that at IKEA.
Mary, on those tools, how many tools did you use? What, 3 or 4 of them to create that
On that one, I
leaf?
probably used 4 or 5, maybe.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
don't need really a lot of tools to be able to create that type of ornament.
No, you really don't. There's a set of tools that I recommend. I'll really quickly write it down here because it's a good starter set if you're just wanting to get going and kind of get a feel for it. Even on some really detailed carvings like that basket, I probably don't use more than maybe 15 tools. I've got 400. So it's not like you don't need tools. I'm not saying that. Everybody needs tools. But yeah, it really is interesting. And I think maybe because when I started, I only had maybe 5 or 6 tools to start for the first 3 years. So you get to kind of figure out how to make the tools do different things than what you wouldn't normally use. And maybe have it, basically figure out how to make this more curved than it actually is because of the lack of tools. And I think that's actually probably better than having like 500 tools and not knowing which one is the right one. Just being able to try to figure that out. All right, so I wanted to show you. So a good one, a 6 or 8 millimeter V-chisel. And I want to say 60-degree angle is really my, by far, preferred one. I probably have about 15 V-chisels, and that is basically shaped like that, okay? 60-degree angle. I have a couple of them that are a little tighter than that, like a 45-degree angle. I don't have anything that's larger than that. So typically, I stick with a 60-degree. The little slipstones that you use for sharpening fit in. If you get anything a little tighter, you're going to have to custom grind a slipstone, 45-degree angle, those little slipstones. The larger ones, the 90-degree angles, I just have never really found the use for, the method that I was using, and the reason I was using most of the V-chisel was outlining, removing the bulk of the wood, and sometimes that one is a little bit more awkward to use. Okay, so then we've got a number 3, 6 millimeter. Let me really explain real quickly. I didn't even talk about that. Number 3 is the sweep or curvature, and the 6 is the width in millimeters, pretty much straight line across from corner to corner. Okay, so first number is the sweep, and basically it starts at 1, and it goes 2, 3, 4 as it goes up to number 10. The sweep increases. Okay, that was a really, really rushed way of explaining that, but. And then we do number 5, 6 millimeter. This is just a really good kind of general shape combination of tools. 7, 6, and then number 7, 14. Okay, so we've got 3s, 5s, and 7s, kind of a nice spacing between that. And then I picked the 6 millimeter and the 14 millimeters of each of those. Now,
Can you flip that over for me for the camera? Flip. It's upside down.
Sorry? Oh, yes, sorry. Like that. So if you want to fill in past that, one thing that's not on this set, anything really, really tiny, to try to get into the really tiny micro areas. Like then I would recommend maybe like a number 3, 3, something like that. I also don't have anything really large for just hogging out a bunch of wood and really large sweep, like a number 9, 16 millimeters or something like that, just to remove. But this is good for doing this type of work, the detail carving. What I would recommend if you're wanting to, again, go beyond that is maybe take the 3, 10 millimeter, 5, 10 millimeter, 7, 10 millimeter, and just sort of fill in the missing curves. What's interesting that I found out is the number 4s and number 6s, they are not very available, and I suppose because just people have gotten accustomed to be able to use those odd numbers, and so they typically aren't available as much. Then they go number 8s, 9s, and 10s for the more curved ones. But it goes up to a number 10, which is basically a half round. So, I mean, I could keep going on about tools. But does that help? Okay, you're welcome. All right. Any other questions? Yeah.
Quick synopsis of your sharpening.
Yeah, I brought my stuff up here just so I could quickly do that. Wasn't sure how much time I was going to have.
Yeah, just the basic sharpening.
Okay. So curved gouges. I use diamond stones. All right. So typically I use a rougher stone and then refine it. So I use 2 stones. The diamond stones, I use a 1200 and the 8000. So you can use equivalent ones for water stones, ceramic stones, that type of thing. And so what I do is I use a marker, and I don't have any water up here, but that's okay. So use a marker, so really to gauge, because you want to lay it flat, right? Lay it flat on the stone. It's a great technique, though, for sharpening anything. All right, so what I do is rock the tool until you can feel that flat, right? Kind of rock it this way. And usually it's about a 22 to 23 degree angle bevel. Okay? Ah. Thank you. Okay, so start with the 1200, and I move, then so rock the tool here. And then what I try to do is I try to move side to side, physically move side to side. And then I rotate just my wrist. So lock the elbow, rotate. All right. Now if you over rotate like that, you're going to end up softening those corners. And if you under rotate and don't reach those corners, it's going to have a divot like that. All right. Typically, I mean, when you buy brand new tools, you want to have them straight across. But, and there are some times when you might want to customize it by softening the corners so the corners don't really get in the way. And sometimes there's some very useful reasons for that. But if you look at the shape of that, it's a fishtail shaped. I would never take the corners off of the fishtail, because the whole thing about the fishtail is just shaped like that. It's really, really good to get into corners. And if you do that, if you soften the corners of them, kind of defeats the purpose of having a fishtail. So if you're going to customize anything like that and soften those corners, which does happen, I would use a straight gouge for that. So anytime you do that. Okay, now you can kind of see where that hits on the stone. I don't know if you can see that. All right, you can kind of see where the marker is gone. Okay, and you just do that for about 10 hours. No, just kidding. We'll see you tomorrow morning. So you do that until you get a little wire edge along the inside, a little wire edge or burr along the inside edge. So you know that you've reached that edge. And then you go to the 8,000, really refine that. What I do is maybe, this is depending on what state the tool is in, about 10 minutes maybe on the diamonds, the 1200, and then move to the 8,000 and maybe just 3 or 4 minutes just to kind of get rid of any of the roughness that was created from the 1200, just to really create that mirror finish. And then we use a slipstone, and it's got a curve on it, and it's got a corner. All right, and then you just take that along the inside, and you're basically pushing that little wire edge to the back side. And then I go back onto this. All right, at this point I'm not really sharpening it or not really removing metal. I'm just dealing with that wire edge of flipping it inside, outside until it falls off. All right, and what I typically do, this is really more for the camera, but what I typically do is I hold it pretty steady with my finger behind there, and I do this so I can actually look at it and see that it's making contact. If it's on like that, you have no idea what's happening. So you're looking at it, making sure it's hitting. Sometimes you may have to do some adjusting to make sure it makes contact. And then back and forth. And then once you get rid of that wire edge, then you just take and just drag it across a leather strop, right? And then just on the inside and outside. And I quite often just use this, every morning, let's say when you're starting, I would, in that sort of ideal world when I'm all organized like that, I would take my tools that I'm going to use that day and just strop them. And if they don't really come back to where I'm happy with, then I would put them to the stone. The last thing you want to do is put them to the stone. Ideally, you want to be able to keep it honed, keep it sharp from the leather strop. So, does that help? Okay. All right. Are there any questions? I can go over the V-chisel too, which is a real nightmare to sharpen. Anybody want to? Are you still sticking around? Okay. You're not going anywhere. Okay, so V-chisel. Typically, so two flat chisels. All right, so what I do, flat chisel like this, flat chisel like that. Okay, same way, however you sharpen a flat chisel, it doesn't really matter. But I want to talk about what the typical issue is with a V-chisel. Let me just do a quick drawing here. What happens is, let's see here. That's the bevel. If you've ever looked really close at a V-chisel, the corner is not a very sharp corner. The corner has got a very soft radius to the inside of that. And so what happens is you have a flat chisel there, and what happens is you get this nice sharp corner on the outside, which ends up being this little beak of metal sticking out the corner. How many have you come across that? Okay, so the trick then is to, after you've gotten your flat chisels down, all right, flat sides down, then you want to sharpen the outside corner as if it is a tiny, tiny little curved gouge so that stays softened on the outside. So you go flat, flat, and then basically try to line it up because you want to have it pretty much hit from the heel all the way to the tip. It's very easy and very tempting to go, oh, let's just lift it up like that and get rid of that little beak. So you want to be patient with it, really. If patience is a big thing with sharpening because you can so easily get impatient and just like, okay, and then flat chisel, and then just that. So it's basically the same concept, 1200 first, and then move to the 8000, and then the slipstone, same thing though, go on inside, and then, so that's one of the things that can happen with the V-chisel. There's all sorts of things that can happen with the V-chisel, but and if you've ever tried to sharpen it, you probably have discovered some of them. So anyway, that was really quick also. But I do have YouTube videos on sharpening also. So if you want to review that, and also if you do that 7-day trial, it's all on there too. So for the website. Anything else?
Quickly on the topic of sharpening. What sharpening compound are you using?
I don't even know. It's something green. That's how technical I am about that. I really don't know. It's whatever came with some sharpening machine that I had. I don't think it really matters. You can use anything, any kind of green, yellow, orange compound. They've got a lot of it out there. I think ultimately, if you take the tool across the strop and you're actually creating scratch marks on then you probably want to not use that. What you're trying to do is create that mirror polished surface. So, and most compounds out there will create that. Yeah. Sorry. Actually, I saw your dad do that one. Yeah, I did. I just cringed.
It's effective.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's the first time I saw anybody do that when I saw your dad do that. I was, cool.
It's a learned skill.
Yeah, I know. I think he did it about 30 seconds. 30 seconds flat, yeah. All right, any other questions?
Well, thanks, Mary. Great to have you. You might have one of these already, but you get another Guild coffee cup. We call it the mug shot, so we have to take a picture.
Okay.
Where holding the mug out with the logo out.
The logo, I'm right
logo
here.
out, of course. So thanks again to Mary.
Thank you.
So I've got a few things. We have the raffle is going to be called here. The second thing is reminder, Santa's Workshop. We still need people to sign up and help. Number 3, please stay and help put the shop back together. Put away the chairs. Number 4, remember we have the memory book and the cards for Dave Kratz's family. And number 5, have a great night. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. If anybody wants to enter my book.
Oh, Mary has books for sale.
They're 50.
This has been a production of the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. A special thank you to our guest today, to the Guild's Leadership Committee, and to all of our sponsors. If you like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. For more videos, please check out our YouTube channel. For more information about the Guild, upcoming classes, and events, please visit our website kcwg.org. You can also find us on social media by searching for Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. And remember to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications.